hours a week that the average household spends watching television. TV producers first come up with a premise, then they get it scripted, hire the stars, then supervise the multi-million-dollar productions. Then they wait for the ratings to see whether they have a hit or a flop. How does a producer dream up a Dynasty, an A-Team, a Golden Girls? How does a producer get a new show from the typewriter to the TV screen? And why do so many shows made by the top talent in Hollywood fail to attract viewers? We'll ask our guests, the three most prolific and most successful producers in television. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Spelling, Stephen Cannell, and Paul WITT. By my arithmetic, taking together your contributions to the current television season constitute about 1/4 of primetime programming. Now, Paul Younger WITT, you have 6 contributions to the current television season, do you not?
Yes, sir.
Would you enumerate those for us, please?
We have on Saturday night, Golden Girls, Empty Nest, and Nurses. On Sunday, on Fox, we have Herman's Head. On Monday, NBC, Blossom. And on Wednesday, on ABC, Good and Evil.
Good and Evil. Let's take a look at this new comedy series, the WITT Thomas Harris Good and Evil, starring Terry Garr.
Are you saying you'd give him up? Do you love him? Oh, Denise, please forgive me, but I think I do. I really do.
Too bad, he's mine.
Good and Evil is attracting probably the most notice of your various products in the current season's offerings, correct?
It's gotten a lot of attention.
Why?
More from the press than from the viewing public at this point.
Well, how do you account for such grotesqueries as people being frozen dead in glaciers and coming back to life?
Well, people are laughing here right now, so obviously it's working. I wouldn't call it a grotesquerie.
You think it's a normal run of events?
Nothing in our show is a normal run of events. Certainly very little in situation comedy that we try to do is normal. A comedy tends to be an exaggeration. Farce just exaggerates it that much further.
How would you describe your programming style, Paul?
Eclectic. We don't set out to produce a specific kind of show. Whatever strikes us emotionally, intellectually, whatever can excite us, we pursue and try to get on the air.
You produce soap?
We did indeed, yes.
Kind of a broad comedy?
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to some of your canon of works in a moment. I'd like to ask, Aaron, what are you contributing to the current season?
Beverly Hills 90210 and a 4-hour miniseries of Dynasty and a 4-hour miniseries NBC called Grassroots.
Do you think Beverly Hills 92010 can be accurately described as, you want to correct the numerals?
90210.
90210 can be accurately, that's the zip code, right?
Right.
Can accurately be described as a teenage soap?
Well, I hope it's not a soap. I think it's a story about teenage angst and joys, yes.
Played on the Fox network?
Right.
Now coming in the 50th position or thereabouts in rank?
43rd.
43rd?
But who's counting?
Pretty good. Pretty good for airing on Fox. And you're on about, and the piece we saw from, what was it, Good and Evil?
Good and Evil.
That's coming in around 70?
It's It's in the lower third, certainly, yeah.
In rank. But of course, these shows build. For example, Star Trek was at the end, and so was Cheers at startup position. Let's see some of the teens from West Beverly Hills High.
Hey, wait a second. Relax.
It's like she thinks it's her night or something.
Well, it's not. Bren, this is your night. Actually, it's our night.
Room 271. Won't anybody notice that we're gone?
We'll make our appearance, and then we'll make our disappearance.
Looks like they're really getting along.
No kidding. Kelly, I don't know.
What?
Something just doesn't feel right.
Well, it feels right to me.
Steve, you could say that the commish, which you're offering this season, is classic CANNELL. It's a series with action, clever dialogue, and some laughs mixed in. Let's watch.
What's going on here? He's a nutcase. Let go of him. Let go of him, damn it. That's an order. Let go of him. Get up. We came in peace to your planet. We wanted nothing but your friendship.
We, the people of Earth, welcome you. It is not our custom to treat intergalactic visitors with violence. On behalf of the Intergalactic Council of Earth people, I extend my apologies, my greetings, and offer you the hospitality of this planet.
Did you write those lines?
Yes, I did write those lines.
You spend most of your time writing, don't you? Or you used to?
I still do.
You still do?
I would say I'm about 90% a writer and about the worst producer in Hollywood, you know, in terms of just getting the job done. I mean, I'm good at playing the network game, but in terms of just, I've got some stories about, I think I left Universal under a tremendous black cloud, and they're probably still trying to recapture the losses from my shows there.
Alan, you're treating issues in Beverly Hills. Besides, that was kind of a teenage seduction scene, but scenes that were portrayed there. But you're
Seduction?
doing
We do seduction on our show?
well, kind of a, you know,
Kind, all right.
But you're doing now issues, are you not? Race?
We've had race stories.
And
Breast cancer.
Single-age mothers?
Single-age mothers.
Let's explore that when we come back. The producers will look back on the road, too. Back on the road to the top. We'll be right back. Spelling. All of those photo stills represent work that you have done. And you're the kind of the dean of volume and success in terms of television contribution. You're in the Guinness Book of Records. Over 2,600 hours of primetime television. Am I right?
You're right.
And with Beverly Hills, it'll be well over that, probably. Correct?
Correct.
In 1978, if memory serves, over 1/3 of primetime programming was produced by your house, correct?
The studio. I don't work out the house anymore, John.
You gave up the house? Well, if there were a house you could work out of, yours is it.
Oh, funny. I was waiting for that, John. It took you about 6 minutes.
I mean, 56,000 square feet, Aaron. You got plenty of room there.
No,
right?
that's when Paul and Steve's house are thrown in, we have all that.
Well, I mean, you could convert the bowling alley. Let me ask you this. You've got in your background The Rookies, ran 4 years, Starsky and Hutch, 4 years, Charlie's Angels, 5 years, Love Boat, 10 years, Heart to Heart, 5 years, Fantasy Island, 6.5 years, T.J. Hooker, 3.5 years, Hotel, 5 years, Dynasty, 9 years. Now you're doing a kind of a reprise or a nostalgia show with Dynasty, right?
Started last night, 4-hour miniseries on Dynasty.
In addition to that, you've done Family with Mike Nichols. Anything else you want to pull out of this distinguished record? I thought about reading all these titles, but it would take us, we timed it, in fact, it takes about 3 minutes to read them all.
Oh.
Starting with Zane Grey Theater, Dick Powell Show, Johnny Ringo, Lloyd Bridges Show, June Allison Show. You go way back.
Way back.
Huh?
I did do a comedy called Soap Dish this year, a theatrical I'm very proud of.
Paul, you want to comment on Aaron's career?
I had the great pleasure of working for Aaron in 1972, I think, and until this year anyway, I never worked harder in my life or learned more. So whatever he has gotten is richly deserved.
Someone has said about Aaron, you cannot deal with American television. Indeed, you cannot deal with television as a creative force unless you take a serious look at Alan Spelling. Is that exaggerated, you think, Steve?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, if I was good and did all my homework, I could stay up and watch Aaron's shows, you know. No, I mean, I think we all grew up on you know, a lot of these shows, and for me, Aaron has always represented the top in dramatic entertainment, and I've certainly enjoyed his shows a lot. And he's also been a tremendous member of our community, which is an important part of it as well.
Just to finish out this segment, since we're almost out of time, let's stay with you, Aaron. You were born in Dallas, Texas, right? And that's where you got your start. And you went to SMU?
That's right.
You were in World War II?
That's right.
What branch of the service?
The Army Air Force, but I was attached to Stars and Stripes as a reporter.
Were you decorated?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
It doesn't matter. Pretty good low rating. I got a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star.
Purple Heart and Bronze Star. Beverly Hills now coming in the 50th range?
Well, I must say that Beverly Hills was in the top 20 for 3 weeks when we were on the summertime. You know, I don't have to tell you how hard it is to get a big rating at Fox, but it's doing very, very well. It is passed in ratings about 30 of the NBC, ABC, and CBS shows.
Good and Evil's coming in the 70 range. You're coming in the 77 range with Palace Guard.
Right.
What do you need as a rating to survive?
Well, you need better than that.
You need better than that? We'll be right back to find out what you do need with a rating to survive. We'll be right back.
Get something straight, Logan. I don't think you're cute. I don't even find you mildly attractive. To me, you're just another wise guy with an angle. For some reason that totally mystifies me, as well as everybody else on the board, Mr. Taft has decided to play chicken with his hotel chain by hiring you. Okay, it's his company. I'll do my best to handle it. But do I want to trade sophisticated, witty remarks with you?
I bet not.
Right, and do I want to talk to you, sit near you, or even be in the same general time zone as you?
No again?
Bingo. Now, since you're reporting to me, we're going to be forced to work with each other. I will do my best to maintain a general tone of civility, despite my enormous and overpowering dislike for what you represent. Any questions?
Just one.
What is it?
You want to make it your place or mine?
I would rather give birth to a chair.
Steve Cannell, that clip we saw was from Palace Guard. Tell us about the plot.
Well, it's about an ex-jewel thief who is hired to head the security of a chain of hotels, the Palace Hotels. And Marcy Walker, the gal in that clip, is the head of public relations for the hotel, and she gets saddled with this guy, and she's got a big problem.
This just started, this series.
Right.
It's therefore not in the ratings, but it has been reviewed. USA Today says, another feeble exercise in caper-style escapism works up a sweat trying to bag this season's dumb show sweepstakes. This glossy, time-killing landfill should have been subtitled, Have Smirk Will Travel. What do you think of that kind of criticism?
Have you got my war record there?
Did you do the A-Team?
Yeah.
Was the A-Team, did the A-Team receive similar critical notice?
Maybe even worse.
Maybe even worse?
Maybe even worse. You know, I used to figure that if I got really lousy reviews, I was destined for good ratings. You know, it's, but I don't pay any attention to that one way or the other. You know, I mean, and you can't believe the good reviews like on Wise Guy or the Rockford Files. You know, you just have to, like, you have to do what I wrote all of those shows, and you have to do what you think is entertainment, and I cared as much and loved the A-Team, which was reviled by the critics, and I loved that as much as Wise Guy, which was honored by the critics.
Did the A-Team go into syndication?
Of course, yeah.
How much did it get per episode?
I think about, we ended up about $1 million an episode on that show.
How many episodes were syndicated?
100.
So you collected from the A-Team $100 million.
Well, would that it were so, you know. I mean, there are a lot of people, you know, that A-Team went, since I formed my own studio and I carry all my own deficit responsibilities, a lot of that went to paying for shows that didn't work. That
you don't have to make excuses here for the capitalistic system.
But
we understand that you've got expenses.
But John,
I want to know, did you gross?
John, slow down.
Did you syndicate the A-Team?
Of course I did, but I didn't
put
$100 million in my pocket.
So you collected a gross of $100 million. I want to make a simple point that the critics reviled it. You want to add to this? Did you ever have did you ever produce a television program or miniseries, I ask you, Mr. Witt, which was reviled?
Certainly.
That later went on to become a box office success.
We have one this year, Nurses, which received generally unfavorable criticism, which is one of the top 2 or 3 new shows of the year.
It's also a terrific show, by the way. I saw that pilot well before the reviews were written, and I thought it was one of the best half hours that I'd seen of the new pilots. I couldn't believe the reviews that you guys got on that.
The series that you have on this season, Paul, are The Golden Girls, Empty Nest, Good and Evil, which is new, Nurses, Blossom, and Herman's Head. Herman's Head, which is also new. Your other TV producing credits include Soap, Benson, It's a Living, It Takes Two, and Hail to the Chief. You've had 3 flops, Lenny, The Practice, I'm a Big Girl Now, and a critical hit, Beauty and the Beast. And it's interesting to note that Golden Girls, Empty Nest, and Nurses are all set in Miami. Why Miami?
We set Golden Girls initially in Miami simply because it seemed to be the kind of city where we could put 3 women of disparate backgrounds together. Once we had that show in place, when we started Empty Nest, we were anxious to cross over our stars from Golden Girls into that show, since it was on the air immediately behind us. It was convenient to set that in Miami. Thus, when Nurses went behind Empty Nest, we had hoped to do the same thing and are in fact doing that.
What's your background, Paul?
I'm from New York City. I was educated at the University of Virginia as an English and drama major. Came to Los Angeles in my early 20s, started in the mailroom at Columbia Pictures, and...
Married to Susan Harris, who was a writer?
That is correct.
How have you described Susan Harris? How about creator and deserter?
Creator, deserter. Susan, when we did Soap together, Susan wrote all the scripts for the first 2 years, and about half of them thereafter, and it took such an enormous toll, both physically and emotionally, that she was determined never to do that to herself or her family again. We have a partnership that works very well. Susan has created some of our shows. She does a number of scripts in the early years, the first year or two. and then moves on to new things.
We want to get into this a little bit more deeply in the next segment, but Aaron, how did you dream up Fantasy Island?
Well, it was really a dirty joke, but I'll tell you that in a moment. Steve does not need any protection from me, but I want to say, I don't think many critics know what the hell the audience likes. And I think the choice of critics in a review like that is so cutesy pie and is so dying to get laughs at somebody else's expense is stupid.
Children is a major commitment. I mean, they're going to be with you a very long time, 18, 19, 30 years.
Blanche, are you going to marry Harry?
Marry Harry, marry Harry. A little rhyme.
Knock it off, are you?
What are those? Paul Younger, Witt, what two clips did we just see?
Empty Nest and Golden Girls.
They're real survivors, are they not?
They are bona fide hits, yes.
It seems as though this season that the networks are carrying what I would call play it safe, familiar face programming. Is that true? In the bulk?
When you say familiar face, you mean star vehicles or something of that nature?
Yes.
Well, both of my shows are with unknowns. I mean, Marcy Walker, I think, had been in a soap for quite a while, but I mean, I haven't found. One of the reasons that I think we're not seeing as much of that as we might be seeing otherwise is the fact that the costs of shows have become so prohibitive that these stars demand huge salaries. And the result of that is we're basically looking for people that we can get for less. And
which is one reason why Star Trek changed its cast in 1987, because of that very factor, and hired stars that are less well compensated, or less highly compensated.
Yeah, and I mean, and that isn't to denigrate what a star can bring to a show, but I think the networks aren't willing to pay the money any longer, and the production companies can't afford to deficit finance, so it's sort of come to that.
But is this familiar faces, familiar formats failing? For example, James Garner has been canceled, and Guillaume has also been canceled.
Well, but I don't think, to begin with, Jim hasn't been canceled. He's been put on something called production hiatus or temporary hiatus, which is like going to the happy hunting ground and waiting and hoping to come out again. But he will be, they're going to continue to make Man of the People, and then it's going to go to another time period.
As you look at the top 10 ranked television offerings this season, all save 60 Minutes are sitcoms. Is it your belief, Aaron Spelling, that there are too many sitcoms on television today?
Oh, I think there are a plethora of sitcoms. I also believe that because of syndication comedies that they're all over the place, but that's not my main bitch. My main bitch are the reality shows. Shows where people intrude on people's lives with a camera, whether they're guilty or innocent, and they're shows that are cheap. You don't need writers, you don't need actors, and I think the networks are filling up the air with that trash, and that bothers me.
Let's take them one at a time. On sitcoms, to make sure your prose is in its full strength is aired. You said, quote, these half-hour comedies, we've created our own monsters. There are so many comedies now, we're laughing ourselves to the television graveyard. But Murphy Brown, Roseanne, Designing Woman, Cheers, they're all sitcoms, very successful. Is there any sour grapes here with you, Alan, because you've done dramas and not done sitcoms? You've only done one sitcom.
Yeah, but sour grapes? No, I don't even know what that means. But I think it's important not to have too much of anything. I remember the days, and you remember the days, John, the guys do too, when we had all Westerns on television, all Westerns, and that hurt television. Then we had all cop shows, and that hurt television. I believe we have too many comedies. I think the good ones will last, and the others will fold. But I just think we have too many comedies.
What do you think, Paul?
Well, I think the business has become deficit and back-end driven in the sense that our shows are so much more expensive to produce. Television is tape. Our hours are limited. We can do it in a finite period of time. So they can be produced for less. They make more sense economically at this time. Also, television comedy started to do better in syndication than ours. So studios started thinking in terms of comedy, in terms of development. Thus, we do have a plethora.
With regard to reality shows, this is what Alan Spelling says. I see all these so-called reality shows now, cops running up and sticking a gun in somebody's car because they think they've got drugs in there, and I think, how dare they violate people's rights like this, putting people on camera, invading their privacy? How dare they do that? It's vile. You said that, right?
I mean that, too.
You do mean it?
Absolutely.
How do you account for the success, though, of Rescue 9/11 or the success of Unsolved Mysteries?
Oh,
there are a lot of reality programming.
I never said that they were unsuccessful. I just said they're vile. I don't think you have the right to put someone on camera when they're innocent. I just don't think you have that right. And they're done. Let's face it, they're done because they're cheap. They're cheaper than half-hour comedies.
So this is economics-driven, too?
Absolutely.
You share his view with regard to the format and its fundamental degradation?
No, I mean, I don't think, I wouldn't call reality programming vile. I mean, I understand what Aaron is saying, but for me, I think that the reason, I mean, we have to look at, the thing that I think escapes everything is that this business is in deep trouble. And it's a business that, you know, has accommodated huge companies going into bankruptcy in the last year. And the networks are not getting the advertising dollars that they used to get for their spots. A lot of shows are going unsold. And the result of this is that it's compressing our business to the point where the networks are finding that this is a viable alternative for them to go to this cheap programming. And I think what we've got to do is we've got to figure out a more pressing issue, which is how do we bring the cost of our productions down and still have quality?
Why don't you look at it another way? Why don't you give the networks the opportunity to syndicate their programming?
Well, we could do that, I suppose, and then we'd all go to work for them, and I'm not so sure
that doesn't necessarily follow, does it?
Well, I think it does. If the networks are being run by corporations that are very business-oriented, and they believe in vertical integration. And I think
they also believe in not losing money, as CBS will do this year, devastatingly so.
But John, let's talk about why. The reason that CBS is going to lose money is because they blew it all on baseball and on the World Series and on the Olympics. You know, if they had been more careful about the way they'd spent their money, they wouldn't be in this problem.
Twin Peaks, 30-something. There's a third show. What's the name of that third show that I'm thinking of? China Beach. We're all innovative programming, and they've all gone. Why?
To make room for Palace Guard.
We'll be right back.
Wait a minute. Soft? Round? Yes! We are holding a woman! This is not a drill!
Paul Hitt, what did we just look at? Paul Witt.
We looked at Herman's Head.
What's Herman's Head about?
Herman's Head is about a young man trying to make his way to the top in publishing in New York City.
It's now number 60 in rank, and it's on the Fox network, and it's a new show, and that's an extraordinarily high rating when you consider A, that it's new, and B, that it's on Fox, because only 12% of, correct me if I'm wrong, of Fox's stations are UHF. The rest are VHF. That doesn't help any. Fox has about 139 stations versus the network's 210. That doesn't help any. So that's a pretty high rating. You must be pleased, are you?
Very pleased. Yes, we are.
How do you like working with Fox?
We avoided working with Fox for a couple of years because their license fees were less than the other three networks were paying. It's been a terrific experience. It's forced us to think more creatively in terms of production. It has been a very positive experience, and we plan to do more work with them in the future.
Do you think that do you enjoy working with Barry Diller?
Yes, I do.
Do you think he's one of the savviest men in television today?
Without a doubt.
Is that because he's dedicated the Fox network to youth programming?
No, I think it's because Barry is a broadcaster. He understands the entertainment business. He He knows how to make it work. He has spent his life doing this. He knows how to get the best out of the people in it.
He's catering to a young and hipper audience, though, is he not? Your Beverly Hills is with Fox, right, Alan?
Right.
Do you find this is the first time you work with Fox?
First time. I've worked with Barry all my life, but the first time I worked with Fox.
How do you like working with Fox?
I think so far it's the best experience I've had in years.
Why do you say that?
Because they listen to the producers. They interfere less. I think they'll push for you when you want to do certain things. I think they'll take chances because they are a new network. And I really enjoyed this experience.
Do you think that Fox will be on an equal footing with the three big networks before too long?
Knowing Barry, yes.
Do you share that view, Steve?
Yeah, I think Fox is very innovative. I was there at the beginning. We had 21 Jump Street on Fox, and then Booker, and they're a good bunch. And Peter Chernin, who is running the network now, I think is a good hand at the wheel and a great a great match for Barry. And I think that Fox is going to be a real force to contend with.
Well, suppose you were given the choice of going on one of the three big networks versus Fox. What would control your thinking to direct it to Fox?
I think with Fox you might take a little bit more of a chancy concept to Fox than you might elsewhere. Although I really can't say that's maybe so true right now as it was before. Generally, when I develop, I go to and I talk to a network and I try to decide what they want, what kinds of problems that they have, and then I go from there.
You have a question.
Yes, I'm very curious how somebody goes from the Columbia mailroom to your position. And in each of your cases, you know, we're mostly actors here today. I know what the breaks would be for us to be on your shows. But for you gentlemen, what were the breaks? How did you move along in your careers over the years?
Start with Paul.
First of all, the mailroom is a wonderful place to start. Some of the top people in this industry have started there. My first break came when I was in a directing workshop, and I directed a scene, and Jackie Cooper, who was then running Screen Gems, happened to be there. He gave me a job as someone's assistant. I then became an associate producer on a pilot that didn't turn out very well, but and was all but abandoned by the studio, and I recut it by working over a weekend, and it was sold, and I went on from there. If you're tenacious enough, a break will come your way.
Aaron, do you have thoughts on that? Did you start in the mailroom, Aaron? It's hard to believe that you did.
No, I started as a writer, and my first job was making $125 a week writing Zane Grey Ho spots. I've been very lucky. I was adopted by Dick Powell and Alan Ladd and Barbara Stanwyck, and everything I've ever done in my life is because of them.
You also did bit parts on Dragnet, am I right?
You had to bring that up. I was one of those actors out there begging for any job. I played every pyro dipsomaniac in the world.
Did you also direct?
No, you have to get up too early to direct. I directed theater back home and in New York, but I never directed out here.
Steve, did you start in the mailroom?
No, I just started as a freelance writer and tried to get my scripts read, and eventually had some luck and sold to Universal and went under contract there.
You were born in L.A.?
Yeah.
You have dyslexia?
Yeah.
What's dyslexia?
Well, it varies depending on what degree of it you have, and there are different conditions, but basically it gives you great difficulty reading. You have a tendency to transpose numbers and figures. You have recall difficulties, which I have. Sequencing difficulties. For instance, I can't give you the months of the year in order right now. And, you know, and there
Can you give them to me in any order?
I know, yeah, but I usually don't miss a couple of months. I mean, you know, it's a very difficult thing for me to find a sequence of things like that. I have strengths in other areas in imaginative things, but...
What causes it?
Well, they aren't really certain. It's a condition. It's not a... You know, it's nothing that really can be cured, but you can learn to adjust to it, and certainly I have, and a lot of other dyslexics have, and Whoopi Goldberg is a dyslexic, and
Nelson Rockefeller was dyslexic.
Yeah, a lot of us out there.
You are also spokesperson and chairman, are you not, of
the Orton Society. I'm not the chairman, I'm the spokesperson for the Orton Society, which is a society that disseminates information to people who want to know about dyslexia.
Our sponsors censoring what you see on television. Next. Go ahead.
Hi, Doctor. How are you?
How are you?
Hi, guys. How you doing? All right? Thanks for the entertainment. With all the concern that we've got about, a good reason for concern that we've got about our environment and stuff like that, what would you guys think about, like, an action-packed series about something like the Sea Shepherd Society, you know, the people that ram illegal whaling ships and stuff like that?
Well, you know, they had one on last year called Earth Force, I think it was called. Paramount made it, and it was on CBS, and it didn't do very well, but there was certainly an attempt at doing it.
You have a question?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about the declining audience, and also at the beginning of the season, a lot of talk about some of the values that were being presented, particularly with regard to teenage sexuality. Are you guys and others in the industry looking at perhaps a relationship between those two?
We did a show about teenage sexuality, and at first we thought we were going to be crucified. I think it's how you do it. I mean, for us to think that our teenagers today do not indulge ever, what we try to say is safe sex and no promiscuousness. That's it. We can't just lean back and think that no one is going to have an affair.
And yet, there seems to be a sense of the programs suggest that unless one is actively engaged, that they're somehow weird. In fact, in some of the shows, that has actually been said.
That's not true. We did an episode on Blossom this year, in which she chose not to go any further in a relationship simply because she wasn't comfortable. Her judgment at that time, it dictated to her that she not go any further. So different shows are doing different things, just as different children are doing different things.
So it was essentially a conservative view that you were presenting?
No, it's just that this particular individual, at the age of 15, chose not to go beyond a certain point.
What's that show with the star, the very young boy who is a doctor?
Doogie Howser.
That show has gotten quite a hit from some critics because he's losing his virginity in the upcoming series, and I know that Kay Gardella of the Daily News hit the show pretty hard because of the way it's being presented, which was almost as described by the earlier questioner, namely that if he didn't, he would look like a jerk.
Well, so, I think they had to deal with his sexuality. I mean, when they hired Patrick, I think he was quite a bit younger, and now they're at a point where I think they wanted to deal with it, with his sexuality, and again, as Aaron and Paul have been saying, it's the way you do it that I think you know, makes the difference. If you do it in a salacious, open-handed way, then I don't think you're doing a good job. But if you deal with the issue, you know, in a careful manner, then
there's a larger issue here, and the larger issue the role that's played by this enormously powerful instrument, television, in its cultural expressions, that is through drama, melodrama, sitcoms, and miniseries, and films developed for full-length films developed for television on public policy. Now, it's hard to trace it back, but there's no question, I think, that culture does percolate through to public policy because it affects attitudes in the public at large, and the attitudes of the public at large are represented eventually in the formation of law through their elected representatives. For example, we live in a society where there are a lot of single mothers, and parental leave is a big source of discussion in the United States Congress right now. Whether or not companies should grant it, they must grant it. There's discussion about granting it with pay or partial pay, both for mother and father. Now, certainly if you have, as is the case today, a lot of television programs which feature single mothers, then how you present those mothers, almost as though it's okay and acceptable, and has no damaging effects on the children, that affects the thinking of the people at large and public policy. Likewise, gays and how they are handled in dramas and melodramas. Do you concede that what you do does have impact on the public policy of the United States?
Without a doubt, but you've mentioned what seem to be negatives. Let's talk about what television...
No, I didn't mean any of those to be negative.
Well, let's look at what television has done with the public perception of alcoholism and drinking and driving. Jay Winston, through his Harvard Alcohol Project, came out here several years ago, knocked on our doors, educated us as producers and writers as to what was really happening. His ideas, his influence on us resulted in all of us thematically dealing with that, the idea of a designated driver. Some of the attitudes that would change have resulted in much tougher laws, a reduction of alcohol-caused accidents. The same is true of the environment, in which through Emma and other groups, producers within their shows have spent a lot of time on the environment, on environmental issues, which hopefully will result in some legislation.
This gets into very large issues, such as the issues of peace and war, where you have it all the way from Red Dawn to Apocalypse Now, or to Born on the 4th of July, where there is a clear message buried within the very powerful dramatic effects. You agree with that?
Well, I would say that since a lot of those shows you mentioned are features in that television, a better example might be China Beach, where they dealt with the effect of war on those nurses and those soldiers, and I think made a very, very powerful anti-war statement with that show. But the thing I think that's important to include in this kind of a discussion is that we must entertain first. Now, China Beach was about that venue. It was about nurses at war, and so therefore it was very, very easy for them to deal with that issue, and they dealt with it very effectively. But I think that...
Are you saying that they should not be didactic?
Yeah. I think that what we ought to do is that the first thing we've got to do is entertain, and then we must be responsible in the way we write those scripts.
Aaron, you got 5 seconds. We're easing out.
Let me say this. I think that the Hollywood community has faced the AIDS crisis better than our government.
AIDS?
Absolutely. And
thank you for being our guest. We're out of time. We've got to get you back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next on CNBC is CNBC Live.
When in Los Angeles, guests of the McLaughlin Show stay at the elegant Village.